Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, what does Russia want in Kharkov, or Sumy next, according to Budanov? Well, we have the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, coming out and saying, we don't want to take over Kharkiv. No, we just want a buffer zone. So you guys cannot hit Belgorod. Now, in this video, I will tell you that it's impossible, and I will not be tangling myself in semantics. I will show you how a buffer zone is not really workable in Ukraine. That's the first one. And the second one, people say we don't want to do this now, but it doesn't mean that the next second I don't change my mind. So let me show you a few articles and a map to see what's going on over there in Kharkov. Associated Press. Putin says Russia wants buffer zone in Ukraine's Kharkiv, but has no plans to capture the city. I don't believe that. Maybe he doesn't have the plans now, but he will have them the next second. Why? Because the buffer zone does not work. I will show you why. So let's go back to the article. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Friday, today, right, the 17th of May, that Moscow's offensive in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region aims to create a buffer zone but has no plans to capture the city. Imbecilic, but let me show you. I don't believe anything about it. It's not workable. So this is Ukraine. Kharkov is this little oblast here. The Russians invaded here so they can defend Belgorod, as they say, right? So they are in about 10 kilometers. That's how much, let's say 15, 20 kilometers in here. He says he doesn't want to get to Kharkov, which is about 50 kilometers from here. So how far are you going to bring the front? Right to the border of Kharkov, which is 50 kilometers inside. 50 kilometers is 30 miles. So let's say the Russians advance here and they think that they created this buffer zone. So if the Ukrainians have, I don't know, the ability, let's say some missiles or some air defense systems that are offensive, that go over 50 kilometers, 30 miles, they can hit clearly Belgorod, which is about, let's say, 100 and some kilometers. And the Ukrainians have that. They have Storm Shadows, they have Patriot, they have HIMARS, they have attack MS. They have the possibility. So how far do you need to push the Ukrainians actually in order to have their missiles cancelled, done? At least 300 kilometers from here. If you don't push the border 300 kilometers here, the Ukrainians have the attack MS missiles that can go 300 kilometers. And they will have probably in the future Taurus missiles that go 500 kilometers. So if 500 kilometers, that means the Russians' buffer zone should be around here. I'm just exaggerating, around here, by Kiev. And these guys, I will show you an article, the guys that NATO countries will provide, the Ukrainians provide. They will use longer and longer and longer missiles. So let's say the Ukrainians receive missiles that could travel 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers, let's put it kilometers, which is 600 miles. So that is what? That means the Russians have to conquer most of Ukraine in straight line. So that's just the buffer zone. You see how imbecilic that is? But anyway, that's the buffer zone. Let's go further and see Putin's statement, because it's a little bit different than the ones these guys are reporting it. Remember, he says here that Putin says Russia wants a buffer zone in Ukraine's Kharkiv. But has no plans to capture the city. I said it's impossible. How far you need to go in? As I said before, no, not to hit Belgorod. No. What, is going to go around Kharkiv or something? Let's see what else these guys say here, and then we're going to jump to the other articles. Putin's comments come on the trip. Okay, we don't care. Let's move on. Now, here, this is, you see the entry words I put here, the keywords, whatever you want to call them. Russia has no plans. And it came, Putin reveals plans for Kharkiv. Why did I do that? It's because earlier today, I got this article, which had a different title. It happened many times. I have this article, which is the same one. Let's put it this way, with the one that we're featuring right there, right now, in there. So nevertheless, we're going to go to this article, which I already pulled it out here. Putin reveals plans for Kharkov. Russian combat operations are not aimed at capturing the city, the president has said. Russia has no intention of capturing the Ukrainian city of Kharkov. I don't believe that, but anyway, which is close. They're going to take over politically, and then Kharkiv is going to be tamed, which is close to the Russian border. President Vladimir Putin has said on Moscow's forces have been making gains in the area in recent days. So he says here that Russia's operations in Kharkiv region, asserting that Moscow is achieving success on the battlefield by acting strictly according to plan. When asked about Russia's goal there, Putin noted that Ukraine is to blame for recent fighting and unfortunately continues to shell residents blocks in the border area, including Belgorod. Yeah, okay, and how far do you need to push them? Civilians are dying out there. Everything is crystal clear. There are firing directly at a certain center of the city. This is what we are doing. As for capture of Kharkov, there are no such plans for today. So that changes everything. As plans for today. So let's go to the next one, Business Insider. And this is from Epstein, Jake Epstein. And it says, Ukraine is getting more long-range missiles that leave the Russians with nowhere to hide. So whatever he said for today will change according to these guys' tomorrow. Ukraine's Western allies have promised to send it more long-range missiles than the ones with 300 kilometers, which is the ATACMS, right? Kiev has already demonstrated it can use ATACMS and Storm Shadows to hit high-value Russian targets. I don't think they are operating this. I think that's others. Former U.S. military officers say more of these missiles will expose Russia on the battlefield. All right, so they want to send longer. Okay, that's another one. And we go here. Russia has no plans to take Kharkov under control now. That changes everything, but in the next second it will change. Why is it, as I said, impossible? Is because if Ukrainians or NATO brings in Ukraine longer range missiles, this buffer zone should go according to the range of those missiles. As I said, those missiles 1,000 kilometers, the Russians have to take over everything over there. And I think they will have to take over some. Not they have to. Politically, they have to clear it over there. Not necessarily militarily. I don't think Ukraine will be, subjugated like a military occupation. They will make sure that they put the right people in the right place, and they will have probably some rapid force intervention. Rapid force. They will disintegrate the Ukrainian army, and police will be put under the control of the Russians, and they will make sure Ukraine will never have the phone number of their boyfriends in the West. Therefore, it's going to be left by the Russians to administrate it. That's how it's going to be. The Russians will administer the Ukrainian country and Ukrainian people, and the Westerns will continue to try to create all kind of garbage, but there will be a hands-off. That's the aim. Ukraine was supposed to be, if you remember, neutral due to 1994. What was that? Budapest memorandum. Well, they screwed that up in 2014 with the orchestrated coup d'etat of Neulandstein and others in Ukraine. That changed it from a neutral into a ours. And the Russian says, "Нет, что казали, that cannot happen." I don't know if that's a Russian, but I know that's Ukrainian. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.